Hey, this is Lars, where we solve modern, everyday problems. Today, I want to answer the question, is the MMO Bless Unleashed fun to play with friends? To solve this mystery, I recruited two of my college classmates, Lars, my former roommate, and Jay, a cool guy I had class with. Alright, so let me provide a little backstory. Bless Unleashed is an MMO game that released in 2020, developed by Round 8 Studios and published by Bandai Namco. The game was a reboot to the popular MMO Bless Online. Bless Unleashed stands out among most MMOs for its action-adventure combat systems, which is significantly more involved than most traditional MMO games, things like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XV. Now, I played Bless Unleashed religiously for a period of about 2 weeks in 2021 while I was waiting for another game to come out. On a side note, that other game turned out to be like a huge waste of money and was definitely not worth my time. But for those 2 weeks, I remembered having an incredible time with the game, running around, completing quests, fighting bosses. So I, as the genius that I am, decided, yeah, that's what we're going to do for this project. But just a few days later, me, Lars, and Jay decided to boot up the game together and give it a good old-fashioned try, live on my Twitch channel. Twitch.tv/LouisLasso520. Now, when you start the game for the first time, first you gotta create a character. Bless Unleashed has 6 classes for players to choose, and several different routes that players can take with their skill tree. So that's gonna be our first secret to having fun with Bless Unleashed. Play different classes from your friends. Have a good spread of classes in your party so you can all do different things. Have a healer to heal your team, a tank to redirect the enemy, and a DPS to kill those monsters, right? No. Turns out, in Bless Unleashed, your party composition has very little bearing on how well and how much fun you have. In fact, the Priest class, the one most associated with being a healer, doesn't actually get any healing abilities until level 7, something that took us almost 2 hours to reach. Okay, well, I mean, that kinda sucks, but it isn't enough to definitively say that Bless Unleashed isn't fun to play with your friends. So, let's move on, I guess. Once you create your character, you're offered the option to play through a prologue that sets up the story of the game. So that's going to bring us to step 2 of having fun with your friends on Bless. Group up and do this prologue mission and the story at large together. What? No, what? What do you mean? No again? You finish your character creation, you played the tutorial, so now you can group up and play with your friends, right? No, okay, so as it turns out, once again, Blessed Unleashed is showing us its incredible sense of game design. It doesn't allow players to party up at the start of the game's prologue together. In fact, the game explicitly tries to keep the player from interacting with other players during most of the significant story beats. In fact, it goes so far as to completely remove all of the surrounding players when you enter a quest instance. This is starting to get a little bit suspicious. It's almost as if the game doesn't want to be multiplayer at all. But what am I saying? It's an MMO game, of course it's meant to be multiplayer. It's got very well laid out combat mechanics and a simple to use party system. Of course, it's an MMO, of course it's gotta be multiplayer. Okay, back on track again. After completing the prologue and the introductory Go Talk to Them quests, we were finally able to go and progress the game in the meaningful way. This first took the shape of our first boss fight, the Wolf King. The Wolf King is an optional mini-boss located directly next to the starting area meant for new players to introduce themselves with how side quests, optional content, and how bosses in general work. Okay, finally. It was a little bit of a slow start, but now we can finally start having fun. All 3 of us were level 3 by this point, and we can go and fight the Wolf King to finally earn some cool rewards. Right? No? Again? We should have seen this one coming, but as it turns out, the Wolf King's damage scales based on how many members are in your party when you're fighting it. So with our little group of 3, the Wolf King almost instantly kills 2 of us and leaves the last one to fend for themselves. And of course we have to remember, my little cleric character is still too low level to heal our party. So our only option is to wait on Lars to revive the 2 of us without dying. Fortunately, we did make it all through the fight, and you know what we got for it? The Wolf King gloves, which are literally worthless. General goods merchant, right here.
Can you only buy anchovy scraps from the fish guy?
I guess. Armor. They're not worth anything?
What, really?
They're all worth 0. That's
What the
so
fuck?
bullshit. No, I mean seriously, they literally can't be sold for money at the in-game shops. Okay, fine. The game classes are virtually meaningless. The story can't be played together and the bosses aren't balanced for multiplayer. There's gotta be something here that's fun. What about PvP? Fucking no. Player damage is too low and the characters have too much health for PvP to really mean anything at this point. But, fuck it. What about exploring? That can be fun, right? Getting to run around and find cool stuff to look at and to collect. No, exploring is boring too. The world is too empty or too linear, depending on which part you're in. And if you go too far off of the path that they want you to take, it becomes unbalanced and unfair against the players. Like, what are we supposed to do? You know, maybe I was onto something earlier. Maybe the game really just isn't meant to be played in multiplayer. The game was really fun when I played it solo. Hold it! Well, wait just a second. Maybe that's it. Maybe the game sucks when you play with friends because it's not an MMO. I mean, okay, technically, yes, it is an MMO. It's online, it's multiplayer, it's technically open world. But if you look closer, you can finally see Bless Unleashed is a single-player game. Every system that the game has tries to keep players from interacting as much as possible. I, who was so blind to the truth mere moments ago, can now see so clearly. I mean, this doesn't even go into the fact that the game's story is recursive and incomprehensible in most places. That's the solution. That's how you have fun with Bless Unleashed. You don't play with your friends. Okay, so let's take a step back and revisit our question from the beginning of the video. Should you play Bless Unleashed with your friends? No! What the fuck? How can you have watched this entire, 6.5 minute mess of a video and still even be questioning this? What part of this video was unclear? The game is bad. Don't play it. It's not good. Don't play the game. It's not fun. So I hope that answered your question. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And come back next time to find out who Peggle's most eligible bachelor.